Welcome back to Greg's Preaching Right Division. So in First Corinthians verse 1, it says Paul called to be an apostle. He's not called an apostle in First Corinthians 1. He says it's called to be an apostle. These words called to be are important. In First Corinthians 1, chapter or verse 2, Corinth is called to be saints. They're called to be, so there's, in verse 1 it says called to be an apostle. In verse 2 it says called to be saints. Now, why is Paul in verse 1 called to be an apostle? Because if you read the book of First Corinthians, Paul was just acknowledged in part. They were following Apollos and Peter. And Paul, when he is an apostle, he is the only apostle. He is the apostle to the Gentiles. He's not an apostle. When the Corinthian church is acknowledging Apollos and Peter and all the apostles, Paul has two titles. Paul is a Jewish elder, and Paul is a Gentile apostle. And when it's the Jewish church, and he's among the Jewish brethren, he's a Jewish elder. Paul is keeping everything Israel needs him to keep so that he can continue to witness to the Jews. But he's also an apostle to the Gentiles, the apostle to the Gentiles. And so these are all summed up at the end of 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 12 says Paul is an apostle. Corinth is called out of Israel. Israel had fallen away. And he says, now you are the temple of God. And you're supposed to be separated, an individual. You're not supposed to be going to the temple in Jerusalem and part of Israel, the Commonwealth of Israel. You're now, if you're separated, you'll be a son and daughter of God. If you don't separate yourself, they would fall away. There's no seal in 2 Corinthians. See, it says if they separated themselves from and became an individual, they would be sons and daughters of God. What happened if they didn't separate? They would fall. There's no seal until the Gentile age. And then in chapter 12, verse 21, it says why they're called to be saints. It says many were in fornication. Many had one guy had fornicated, but they were rejoicing in the fact he fornicated, and they were actually a part of the fornication. The leaven had leavened the whole lump. So he says that many were part of that fornication and had to come out and had to repent of it, even though